Good evening, class. I hope you all are doing well. Tonight's online class is about the SST and RTI process. SST stands for Student Success Team. RTI stands for Response to Intervention. The learning outcome is to understand the strategies for affecting student success, student learning outcomes, and ultimately institutional effectiveness using an SST and RTI. I thought I would start the class in the discussion about SST by showing you a video of what SST is not like.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our team meeting. We need to discuss how Jimmy is doing in school.
Yes. Let's discuss Jimmy.
Let's make sure we discuss him for 45 minutes, so that we don't have time to discuss any other students.
Agreed. Do we have an agenda?
Heavens no. We will just discuss Jimmy until we run out of time. This is the sign of an effective meeting.
Agreed. Do we have all team members here to discuss Jimmy?
We do not. His teacher is busy and cannot attend.
Wouldn't she be an important person to have at this meeting?
Probably. Well, let's get started.
What about the school psychologist?
He is busy scoring 7 IQ tests.
Wouldn't he be an important person to have at this meeting?
Probably. Well, let's get started.
What about the special education teacher?
She's busy scoring 3 Woodcock Johnsons and cleaning up the seclusion room that a student vomited in.
Wouldn't she be an important person to have at this meeting?
Probably.
Probably. What about the school principal?
She's busy scheduling other meetings.
Wouldn't she be an important person to have at this meeting?
Probably. Let's get started.
Agreed. What do we need to discuss regarding Jimmy?
He is struggling with his academics.
In what area specifically?
Yes.
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 How do you know he is struggling?
I have a work sample.
You have a work sample?
Yes.
A work sample.
Yes.
A work sample. What does this work sample indicate?
He is struggling.
In what academic area is he struggling?
Yes.
What is the work sample a sample of?
It is a sample of his writing. It is hard to read his writing. Let's put him in special education.
Because of his work sample in writing.
Yes.
What interventions have you tried?
We have tried many interventions.
Such as?
I moved his seat to the front of the class.
To help him with his writing?
Yes.
I wouldn't imagine it would help him improve his writing.
Precisely. He didn't get better in reading or math either. Let's put him in special education.
How would that help?
It would be a seat moved even farther.
What other interventions have you tried?
I called his mother.
And did this help?
No, it did not. Let's put him in special education.
What other interventions have you tried?
But that's 2 interventions already. Are you trying to sabotage this?
No. I'm trying to use best practice. What other interventions have you tried?
I almost forgot. I also gave him response to intervention.
That's great. Response to intervention is best practice. What specifically did you do?
I gave him response to intervention.
You gave him a response to intervention.
Yes. Isn't that best practice?
Well. Yes. How did he receive it?
Not well. Let's put him in special education.
I'm not sure that would be best practice.
Well, let me know how that evaluation goes. Thank you for this effective meeting.
So that's obviously not what an SST meeting should look like. An SST meeting is a process in which a teacher is assisted in determining ways in which a learner can be supported for academic success. So what does that mean? That means that an SST meeting is a meeting that has all key stakeholders at a table and they're discussing what's best for a student. So the stakeholders should be parent, a school psychologist, possibly counselor, general education teacher, possibly a special education teacher, and so on. An SST is not a meeting for individualized education plan. It's not a gateway to special education. It's not an opportunity for a parent conference. In the SST meeting, there are important documents that are needed. A referral form, accommodation intervention plan, denial letter. These are important documents because you need to have some data and need to have some evidence of why you're here, what's happened in the past, and things to discuss. What are accommodations and interventions? Accommodations or interventions are what the teacher has done prior to completing the forms for the SST meeting. They're an opportunity for the student to have a different experience for educational success, different from their peers. What qualifies a student for an SST? Evidence of significant performance significantly below grade level. So that is huge, and it needs to be significant. So if a student is in middle school, let's say you have an 8th grade student, they're in math, and their grade levels are, 4th grade, 5th grade, that's significant. If they're just one grade level below, then that's not significant enough to have an SST. Also, behavior counts as well, and that can you can have an SST based on a student's poor behavior. So if a student does not fit in with their peers, just behaviorally, that also qualifies. What disqualifies a student for SST? A learner who is at grade level in one area, yet is somewhat struggling in another area. So, and then a student who is working at the same level as his or her peers. So if they're grade level in one area and then they're just struggling a little bit in another area, that's not going to qualify a student. Again, remember, they have to be significantly below grade level in one area. Teacher responsibilities for an SST meeting. Teachers should provide some student work samples. Again, the meeting needs to take place based on data. So data needs to be reviewed at the meeting. They can be reading, writing, any curricular area with regards to writing, mathematics, language arts. Their attendance record should also be discussed. I've sat in SST meetings with students who have very, very poor attendance. And if attendance is very, very poor, usually that is going to be focused on as opposed to their significantly low, below grade level. Because if a student has consistent poor attendance, then that's probably why they're doing so poorly. Evidence of behavioral issues. So any student that you're meeting on prior to or regarding specifically regarding their behavior, there needs to be some form of evidence in data that's presented at the SST meeting. Teacher talking points. The reason for referral and specific statement of concern should definitely be discussed. Areas of student strengths and weakness. So don't just focus on their weakness, the strengths also need to be addressed. That should be addressed at the beginning of the meeting, their strengths. Expectations of the meeting. Remember, the referring teacher is making the case for the support this learner needs. That's important. The referring teacher should, usually the referring teacher is always at the SST meeting. If not, they should be the one that's providing a lot of the data. So here are some things that maybe you've heard a lot. Seems to come from a nice family. Can't think right. Can't they just go to the resource room? They're nice. I don't want them in my room. Can so-and-so be moved to a lower grade? So-and-so is not taking this medication. So-and-so is slow. Can't you just put so-and-so in special ed? How would you feel if someone said this about you or your child? Those phrases, how do those phrases support academic success of the learner? They don't. Make sure when we're thinking and talking about students, we are communicating ways to help the student. And those phrases that we saw on the slide before can somewhat be viewed as negative comments about the student. So we just need to always remember what we're saying and how we're communicating with students. So here are some things that you want to say. Teacher talking points for SST. The academic, specifically in regards to academics. So here are some examples of strengths. They excel in math, they love to do handwriting, enjoys art, good in sports, works well with math tools, and they're a visual learner. Examples of areas of weakness. Examples: difficulty reading textbooks, unable to phonetically sound out words, disorganized, poor handwriting. Again, these are specific examples. As you saw on the slide before, this is just really, these aren't specific examples of what their weaknesses. This is more just like, can't you move into special ed? Can't they move to a lower grade? They're not taking their medication, etc. So let's talk more based on data. And these are the social emotional teacher talking points. So you can read the areas of strength, and then you can read the areas of weakness there. I'll leave it up. Who does the SS team consist of? Usually there's a coordinator, some kind of SST coordinator. It could be a counselor. Their title could be SST coordinator. Parents should always be there. Referring teachers should usually be there. Sometimes in certain cases they can't make it, but they should be providing a lot of data. Counselors, school psychologists, nurse, and the list continues to go on. Maybe all or some of the above may attend. The decisions of the SST. Decisions of the team can range from mild intervention to aggressive, including changes within the classroom, change to another classroom, special ed assessment. So all of these things can happen as far as what decisions get made. But the most important way to make a decision is based on accurate data, and there always need to be some forward thinking for the student. So making sure that the meeting is positive and it ends in a positive way. Remember, SST is about student success.